Well, Anup and Saurabh on the technology session here on the Enterprise Innovation Summit 2021. Now, for those of you who just joined in, this is day one of our 3-day summit, and we are midway through day one. Coming up now is an innovation showcase. Richa Hukumchand connects in now. She is the Chief Innovation Officer at Pixxel and an experienced R&D professional working on cutting-edge technologies for the defense and agri-tech industries. Now, her expertise is in embedded software, image reconstruction, signal processing, AI, and ML. Let's listen in.
Thank you so much for providing me this opportunity and for the introduction. Uh, Today, I'm going to be speaking on why innovation is a key for the digital infrastructure. Right? And why it is important is like, yes, we have to leverage innovation in the way of how we collect data, how we store data, and also how do we build intelligence on top of this. So before I jump into the what infrastructure is, right? If you have to think of planet Earth like human system, and there's an analogy that I'll try to bring here and try to correlate. So whereas skeleton is like more of a physical infrastructure that we have built, which is your trains, highways, rails, road railways, and multiple ways of transportation system. Second, from our human system, which is your vascular system, is more related to the whole power and electrical network. So that's where the world gets connected to the electricity and we get all the energy on top of that. So now coming to the third system of our human body, which is our nervous system, is what I would correlate it to the transmission network or how we are connected in the digital day. Right? There are various bicycle lines, operations across the globe, undersea submarine lines, which connect us to access the internet, what we access information on. Now, given this transformation, right, we have seen this initially industrial revolution came. Second is where your internet revolution came, which helped us connect the world in a fast pace. What is the next transformation after the internet revolution? That is, of course, the digital revolution, where humans are observing a complete metamorphic change, and a plethora of information is collected from various means and ways. And if you have to look at what is driving this digital revolution, there are key drivers of this digital revolution. One is where, yes, your data centers and fiber network is growing. Second is where your connectivity and 5G plays a very key important role. Third is AI and artificial intelligence. And yes, all this, how it is connected through sensors and rules, which is at a last mile, which connects a lot of information of this Earth's system as well as human systems. So these are the four key drivers or innovation happening in these four areas, which is going to bring the digital revolution in this world. We are already witnessing this digital revolution in a part way, and industry is trying to push this. In COVID, we witnessed that in a natural way how this digital revolution or digital transformation was adapted, not just in education segment, but in health segment, education segment, the way we communicate in a normal communication channel and multiple other networks. The next era is where we're going to be seeing a tremendous change in how this whole transformation gets expedited. Now, some of the key innovations, which I feel that is going to bring a huge change. Me being from a background of satellite industry, one of the example I'll just quote. So, if you have to think of how many satellites are currently in the orbit in 2021, it's going to be huge. And as per UCS, which is an organization which actually monitors the total number of satellites present in the orbit. Currently, there are almost 6,542 satellites orbiting across on our on the globe, out of which 3,372 satellites are active, and the rest are more inactive. This is as per 1st of January 2021. And there is a lot of innovation happening in the coming year itself, where multiple companies have projected the number of satellites that they plan to launch, and that is not going to be in 4 digit. That's already gone to the range of 5 digit in number. Now, what are these all satellites do for us, right? It's various industries or various ways that they are utilized for. Half of them are more for communication purposes, where yes, you communicate to the ground or the ground systems. Uh, uh, Half of them are more for Earth observation, which are more we put up cameras, or industries putting various kinds of sensors to monitor the Earth as well as Earth atmosphere as well as the outer space. So, given so much of data is going to be collecting, where and how this is going to be stored and how this is going to be well managed is what is a question. But definitely, these technologies is what will push the whole digital transformation in a altogether a very different way how we see the system today. I'll again one of the very key innovations that has come up. If a lot of people would be aware about Starlink as a project by SpaceX, right? This is a what I'm showing on the picture is a dish antenna of Starlink, which provides almost 50 Mbps to 150 Mbps with a latency of 20 milliseconds to 40 milliseconds in most of the locations. Now, this is a proper B2C mode of business where internet is going to be coming in a similar way. How we get your broadcast television, right? DTH system. So currently, how we use it very different is with fiber optics. But I totally can connect to the olden era where maybe ZTV had launched a huge dish antenna systems, and still we thought that oh, this is going to bring a huge change, and now we have it's very common. If I will explain it to my son, he will laugh at me that yes, this is how it's easy it is that internet is direct to home. Starlink is already under beta test. The number of satellites currently under the beta test that they have put up is around 1,584 satellites in the orbit. And what they aim is almost equal to what fiber optics would provide us on a ground network speed, which is around 1 Gbps. Right? Now, this becomes a huge innovation from ground as well as from the top of the earth. Coming to second innovation, which I would like to highlight is again 5G and sensors, right? This is also boosting some of the key innovations in self-driving car, right? These are just two use cases that I have brought up because this is what is already being tested, and what we see or imagine as that yes, whether it's possible or not, sometimes we question. But the whole question comes back to us that yes, one or the other day, these all technologies would be quite functional, and the amount of data that they plan to collect is going to be a huge plethora of information. Now, this self-driving car that I'm talking about is by a company called Viamo. It's an American autonomous driving technology company. This is based out of a predecessor Google self-driving car project. Now, they have already begun the limited riders testing on in San Francisco, where they plan to collect. They are already collecting a lot of data. Now, this data becomes is what they're key to their technology, more to improve or actually bring up fully autonomous robo taxis in the system. Some of the key challenges, right, in the digital infrastructure industry, what is facing. There's a lot of data that is collected. I just gave two examples. There are multiple others. There are a couple of weather companies which are directly using 5G network these days, and there are certain weather companies who are planning to collect weather information from autonomous vehicles or devices, mobile devices, right? So there is going to be a whole connectivity of these two, three layers of ways and means of collect data from your mobile to your drones to your satellites. And when if we see there's so much of information being collected, there is definitely going to be emerging challenges which the digital industry will face. And some of the key challenges which I feel, at least what we have also faced in observing or analyzing a lot of satellite imaging data. One is the scalability aspect. When more and more data comes, get more and more data gets collected, there's an expectation that this the services built around that would be highly scalable, and they will not be restricted to maybe one data centers or one region or two regions, right? The efficiency expected around a huge amount of data set is going to grow. And then there is multiple challenges that will come across. For example, still like how data or how technologies can connect hybrid cloud systems, multi-cloud systems, those applications will come into picture. So that's a key innovation area where yes, more and more tools and technologies have to be grown and flourished. Where yes, we are clients or the customers or the developers are not necessarily restricted to one cloud platform or one data center. Uh, Other challenge, which is again related to policies and standards, yes, of course, India is also doing a lot. Europe has done a lot of, especially around data policies, data sharing, put up standards. We had the whole data policy being released for India as well, but there's further more, right? The whole policies which are around majorly on data sharing, there is a requirement of policies and standards in the way how this data is utilized or stores. For example, UPI is a classic example of how seamlessly they have done and they've been able to scale up, right? And that's an example of innovation which is quoted up by multiple universities outside prime universities in US as well. That this is a technology where a protocol is designed, and that's what is scalable as a system, right? So you have a payment protocol which is widely used irrespective of it is in through Google Pay or some other payment gateway or some other platform, right? The way we collect data, may it be from satellites, may it be from autonomous cars, right? There's multiple sensor data that will be collected. Just an autonomous car has 5 to 7 different types and varieties of sensors. It has a radar sensor, it has a lidar sensors, it has a IMU system, it has a ranging devices, right? This is what maybe if I would have heard is all these kind of systems are more present in missiles and very advanced defense systems. Yes. So policies and standards will play definitely a major role in not just designing or deciding how the data would be shared, but also how the data and the services on top of that would be designed and distributed. So there's a lot of work around policy and standards which is required in the current in order to manage the digital infrastructure that plans to come up, right? The third very important factor is AI ethics, and yes, this is if at all this subject has to be taken up, it's in a topic in itself, and there is a need of applying principles of AI ethics to design and implementation of various algorithms in the AI, machine learning, as well as intelligence systems that is required. Right. So currently, I would say there's a huge lack of education in terms of and also governance in terms of ethics around AI, right? And even before ethics around AI being built up, right, that there's an importance of ML operations, right? A lot of companies still are not necessarily understanding the concept of ML ops, right? And when I say ML ops is the way and the method and how you manage a particular model in a very similar way how a software lifecycle would be managed. So MLOps is an area where you need to manage the whole model with an appropriate life cycle in terms of how you have changed the data, how you have added new data sets to any kind of an AI training, how you have maybe changed certain hyperparameters, or it could be also it's the same data, but you've maybe used a different altogether model, right? So there has to be a transparency in what models are being utilized and if there's bias associated with that model or not, right? Clients have a right to know, and that can come only with transparency and putting up ML ops as a practice in various companies, right? And there are a couple of companies who are doing good work more in terms of bringing up platforms and tools both in open source as well as in your paid versions of tools, right? H2 is one of them. Data Robots is another one, right? In open source, Kubeflow has done a lot of a lot of good work in terms of ML ops. So first, when ML ops can be put in as a best practice in companies who are working around AI or intelligence, further to that where AI ethics can be embarked, and then subsequently that will show a lot of confidence and transparency to clients as well as consumers in terms of building confidence to any kind of an AI system. So my last words to this would be that yes, there are this digital revolution that we plan to bring, or which is going to be coming up in the next era, right? Is going to be different level or different neuron system, very similar to the neuron system of human body. How we build it's going to get built. So it's very much required we build policies and standards more to organize it and utilize the best practices around it. If we do it now, this digital infrastructure will be would be able to come up in a much better and a much efficient way for the betterment of the society and the consumers. Uh, Thank you so much.